Hello, and welcome back to Crypto Curious with your hosts, Estefania Ochoa, aka NFTMami, and the lovely,
JP Miller, the real JP Miller. That feels
amazing.
so silly.
There's
How you
only one.
doing? There's only
I'm
one.
good. How are you?
Well, great. I'm really excited for our guest today. We're bringing on Erin Murphy. She's going through our first cohort at the Ascent Bootcamp, and she's also, I believe, she's also a bounty hacker. So really excited for the projects that she's building and to learn about her story, and come into blockchain and start building.
I'm so excited to meet her as well. Let's bring her on stage.
Hi,
Hello, Erin.
everyone.
Hey, Erin.
Welcome. How
Hey,
are you today?
good. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah, great to have you. Yeah, we're really excited to learn about your journey. We're thrilled that you're part of our Bonnie Hacks and Bootcamp experiences, and you've been active in the Discord. And we want to promote our community and get to know you better and learn about your journey into Web3 and why blockchain and why Reach.
Awesome. Yeah. So, my journey into Web3 sort of started. So, I graduated. I'll talk a bit about myself first.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
June 2020, I graduated a computer science degree, and it's been a terrible time trying to find a job in the space. So, it was in the beginning of COVID, remote work wasn't really a thing yet. So I think a lot of us were struggling to get jobs in the industry and everything. And then once sort of things started to equalize, I still wasn't getting jobs. It was just rejection after rejection. And I figured that it was probably missing pieces on my part. So I knew I didn't have internship experience, and there was a lot of things that I didn't have. So I knew I sort of had to just figure stuff out for myself and sort of see what I could start on my own. So I sort of dabbled in a little bit of web development because I'd never done that previously, and started getting into full stack and all of that. And it wasn't really working out until about a year and a half into finding a job. So I landed one at a startup. It was actually a random way that I got the job. It was a big name in tech posted on LinkedIn that they were looking for React developers who play games. And I was like, okay, cool, let me shoot my shot. Don't know anything about React, but let me try it. So that actually worked out. I got the job, and
Nice.
there was a really awesome senior dev who was sort of mentoring me on like the ins and out of React and full stack and all that. So that was great. But then unfortunately, like some startups, they all fail. So it was about of a 4-month run time. So I got about 3.5 months of experience out of it, but it was still good experience that I can sort of like take with me. So I'm grateful for that. And then yeah, so after that it was back to the drawing board, like trying to figure out what I want to do and all that. And that's sort of when my husband and I actually got into um, blockchain gaming, and we mostly play a lot of blockchain games on the Algorand blockchain,
Awesome.
like play to earn games and everything. We mostly went with Algorand because we had a terrible experience with Ethereum with the gas fees, and the first
Mhm.
ever thing we did with blockchain and NFTs was on Ethereum. It was a new project that was minting, and it was over the span of about 2 days where we were trying to figure out when to mint this thing because the gas fees were just terrible.
Right.
So I think it eventually went through at about $100 worth of gas. And I was like, this is shocking. Like, this shouldn't be a thing. I know why it's a
Wow.
thing, but it shouldn't be a thing. So that's why we do a lot of gaming on Algorand, because it's clean, it's fast, it's basically free, all the transactions with NFTs and sort of that. So yeah, so we come from a big gaming background, and we noticed that there's a lot of there's many games on the Algorand ecosystem that are in development, and like there's this big opportunity for more games to be created and stuff. So I actually have a business partner who I've co-founded the Algo Gaming Guild with, and
Mm,
That sounds
so
cool.
yeah, so it's very new. We started from scratch. We don't really have like a big like investors or anything like that, and the sole purpose of it was to be like a normal gaming guild with scholarships and all that kind of stuff. But because of how new Algorand gaming is, and it's such a small space at the moment, there was some issues with that, and then also the legal issues around like the ACC and DAOs and all of that. So we've sort of pivoted to more of a community-based model. So now we're just sort of trying to build up a base, trying to build the community, and just support everything to do with Algorand gaming. So we just sort of like running on a free, not really making income and stuff. So at the moment, we release a newsletter once a week, just updating everyone on the games that have got updates, new games in the ecosystem, how the games are going. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Project Aga, who is now Aga Tactics, which is an
Yes.
NFT-based game. Yeah. Do you play it?
I haven't played it. I saw it was being advertised at I think Decipher, one of the recent conferences that we went to.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they yeah. Go
Tell
ahead.
us a bit about like the whole concept of pay to earn, and maybe like could you explain what that is and
Um,
why it's a thing, and like why is it important or attractive to you? Like why is it something
Yeah,
you do?
sure. So I think it was more of the fact that we love to play games, and then also it would always be cool to sort of play games that you can also earn rewards for doing.
Mhm.
And I think it sort of adds an excitement to the game. So like even if you're just playing a Discord game and you get like airdropped free tokens, and it's like you go on adventures and say like Arcadian Tales and stuff, and you can
Mhm.
it's like a Dungeon and Dragons based game where you get go on adventures and like you earn things, and it's like it sort of draws you towards playing the games even more because you can earn stuff out of it and like sort of make money from it. So I think that's what excites us most about play to earn games.
It's cool.
Um, yeah, so
This is
we
like
do have. Yeah, go ahead.
dungeon crawling and all the fun of it without the danger of
Yeah,
getting beat up
exactly.
by a skeleton. Huh?
Yeah. But yeah, there's also a lot of other games on there that aren't just Discord based games. A lot of games that are in development, like Fractal Monsters, I'm sure you know of.
Yeah.
That's in development. That's going to be quite cool. So there's a lot out there. So with the model that we've got with the Algo Gaming Guild, which is why I got into Web3, is that even though we just like a baseline community model at the moment, I do have some plans to eventually institute NFT renting for people that play games, because I know that's quite important. Like not everyone has the NFTs that you need to play some of the games. Like in Aga Tactics, you won't always have the older legends, like when you weren't in the shuffles back in the day. So renting could be quite an important part, which is also has a back-end utility with smart contracts and all that, which brings me to Web3. And I haven't sort of said no completely to the DAO yet. We've just got to figure out the legalities and all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah,
Um,
so then, yeah.
I just want to, it's so interesting to hear you talk about this because it makes me think of like the loot boxes and everything that's currently going on in the Web3 gaming space. But I'm also going to spill alpha because that's what I love to do. I don't know if you know this, but Reach is building a gaming DAO as well called
Also,
Alpha.
I think JP spilled the beans a little bit one day, but I don't know too much about it. So go ahead.
So a lot
That's
with what you're
cool.
talking about are things that we've envisioned as well for Alloy. So it makes me curious to see if there's some sort of synchronicity there, because it seems like you obviously have established a community of gamers already in the Algorand ecosystem,
Yeah.
and you coming in from like a gamer's background and perspective, it's really cool to see that you've transitioned from like Ethereum, dabbled and then made that transition over to Algorand. I didn't even realize Algorand had a big gaming community. And
Yeah.
it's really awesome to consider that, like, you're thinking about renting and the possibilities of what NFTs could do. And I think about that a lot because, like, I have over 100 NFTs. Like, I want to do something with them, right? Like, how
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. You don't want to just hold on to them the whole time.
Yeah, totally. And so I'm like curious, like, what, yeah, so beyond like renting and being able to interact, like, do you perceive or do you see yourself like making a game as well, or do you care more about like just sustaining the community and DAO?
Well, that would actually be cool. I mean, before I started getting into all trying to figure out my life career and all that kind of stuff, I originally wanted to go with game development. There was just so much I didn't know and so much I had to get into. So I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. It's just not something we've sort of planned out just yet. But we do think about it every now and then. We're like, oh, the games are doing so well. We should create like a little mini game and like in the Discord, just like, to keep like more interactive, fun and all that. So I think maybe in the future we will consider that. But I think for now we're just trying to focus on building the community, because if we the more people we bring to Algorand gaming, the better the blockchain does, and then it's just better for everyone. And so we recently dropped some news in one of our newsletters recently that we're going to be hosting towards the end of this year an Algorand gaming convention. So this year it's going to be fully digital, and then going forward we're going to sort of do it biannually, sort of in person and digital. But we don't want to spill too many beans, but that's going to be exciting. And there's still a lot to plan around that, but we've sort of put it out in the open now that we are going to be hosting this sort of gaming convention. So I'm looking forward to it.
When are you thinking this is going to take place?
I would say around close to August, September time. We haven't confirmed the date yet, but it's going to be around that time because there's a lot of games currently in development that won't be ready, let's say June, July. So we're sort of also trying to give the game developers an opportunity to sort of develop around the timeline of the gaming convention, so they can release demos and like show us gameplay and all of that. So we just want to give them an opportunity to sort of further develop on their game, so we can have more content and all of that.
Sounds really interesting. So the first one will be all online, and then you want to like take it traveling, or will you?
We'll see. I'm not sure about the in-person just yet. We're going to figure all that out. See how well the digital one does at first. I think the one that happens this year is going to be a sort of our trial run, see how everything goes, see how much attention we can get and all of that. So yeah, there's a lot of unknowns in it, but it's also, we're not going to know until we try. So just got to go and do it. And then also with that being said, for the most part, it will be free to watch, but there will also be some paid aspects that will have sort of back-end utilities, like with NFTs and stuff, which is where the Web3 development comes into, and which is also what brought me to Reach, because as the developer in the guild, I've sort of got to learn all the smart contract development and the blockchain and stuff. So originally, I've always sort of put off learning it because blockchain's been such a big thing that I don't know much about. So I've always been a bit overwhelmed and like anxious to get into it, which is sort of why I'm grateful the Reach Bootcamp came about, because I was always in my head like, no, this is too much. I can't do this. And the bootcamp sort of laid everything out, simplified it, put everything in a great structure. And it's sort of now kickstarted me. And I feel like I can now go and off and venture into trying to build these apps and like all of that. So I'm pretty grateful for that.
That's awesome. I'm curious because I've been getting some feedback on just like development coming in from like a Web 2 background and then going into Web 3. It seems like the logic completely shifts because you're thinking about consensus and peer-to-peer networks.
Yeah.
What are some of the major differences that you observed that you know now that you wish you knew getting started?
Yeah, that's quite a hard one. So like I've mostly come from like static web development. I've never worked in too much with backend stuff. And now going from a space where you've got to worry about front end and back end, now you've also got to worry about like security and like stuff that happens in the consensus network and like how safe are you being, and it's like what you're disclosing to like other people that are also going to be in the consensus network with you. So like trying to figure out what you're doing, like as JP would know, like in your local step compared to like what you're doing, like sort of in the whole consensus mechanism. So yeah, I think it's mostly based around security and not having that mindset to think about things that are actually like, you know, vulnerable to other like attackers and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you mentioned that like the blockchain development was always kind of like a little too much for you. It's kind of like scary, like there's a lot to learn, right? And so was it like specifically the boot camp that gave you the courage to make that next step, or was it like something else about Reach that had you interested, that made you feel like this was a leap that you could make?
Yeah, so originally, when I came to terms with the fact that I needed to get into the blockchain dev, I sort of scoured through the Algorand site, like on the developer portal, and they sort of spoke about I think it's PyTeal, I don't really know the name too well. And then also over Reddit and through the Algorand sites, they mentioned that probably the best way to do smart contract development is Reach. So then I was like, okay, cool. I went and like I propped up all the little tutorials. I had the rock, paper, scissors up. I had like all the docs up. But because the deadlines are so far in the future, I've sort of been a little bit lazy about it. So I've always had the things there, but it's always getting to the learning part where it's like, oh, damn, I'll do that tomorrow. And then it was about a month after that where the boot camp came around. I was like, oh, cool, this is perfect. Like, let me just get into it. Then I can like learn on a schedule. I'll be diligent. Gives me a reason to go and do the learning. So yeah, sort of kickstarted that. So I heard about Reach through Algorand, and then also people were raving about it on Reddit and all of that. So I was like, okay,
Nice.
this is the one. This is the one I need to do, clearly.
Great to hear.
Yeah.
And then how's you mentioned like the boot camp has been nice because it's been able to break it down. So what would you say to people who are thinking about learning Reach, or they want to learn blockchain development? What kind of advice would you have for them?
I would say just do it. I mean, I think like if a lot of people are in the same position as me, whereas they think about learning a new language, they just think of the language as a whole and they're like, oh, scary. It's like too much stuff to process. And they sort of forget the fact that everything is broken up into steps. And no matter what language you learn, everything is methodologically based. And like if you follow the simple steps, you'll get the outcome that you need. And it's just like, you just got to sort of take that big mindset and throw it away and just like follow the steps and like be willing to, you know, like follow the step-by-step process and you'll get it. So I think you just got to sort of make that leap into going and doing. And I think for Reach especially, it's like the front end mirrors the back end all the time. So it's like if you've missed something on the front end, you can always just look back at the back end, see what you've been doing, and then implement that on the front end. So there's always, I wouldn't say it's easy because learning something new is always difficult at first, but I think it's simple to grasp once you get the hang of it.
Do you have any more questions about the boot camp? Otherwise, I have tons of questions about gaming.
Let's talk about gaming. Yeah, let's get into that.
Okay. First, I didn't realize that Algorand already had like a gaming ecosystem. I think I'd seen like one game, but even then, like are there games that I can connect like my Algo wallet to and play with my NFTs, my Algo NFTs?
Yes. If you have, I don't know if you've heard of Alchemon. They have, and it's like a sort of Pokemon based game where it's like you have your team and then you like have the abilities and stuff. So they've just released, I think it's mainnet. I want to say testnet, mainnet, but you can play with your NFTs. You link your wallet and then you also earn their LP coin when you play the game. So you actually do get rewards from it as well. Trying to think what else. So Aga Tactics, if you have the NFTs, you link their wallet. But at the moment, they're actually a card-based game, but it's in development. So they have a mini game in the Discord server, which is a dungeon, and how many NFTs determines how much damage you do each time you attack in the dungeon. And then that's sort of how much you attack the dungeon boss gives you the dungeon Aga at the end. So yeah, there's a few. We also have an ecosystem diagram that I'm going to be updating because we recently had a rug. And unfortunately, they were on the ecosystem diagram. So I'm just busy updating that. But otherwise, I can, I don't know, share my Twitter, the Algo Gaming Guild Twitter, and you can see there's, I think, over 40 projects already that you can go and check out.
Amazing.
Yeah. So there are quite a few. I'm not sure sort of what type of games you're into because there's games that dabble in mystery, that dabble in adventure, all sorts of things. So you just got to sort of pick what you want to play, and I can sort of lead you in the right direction to games that are in that industry.
How do you find them? So how do you find these games?
Mostly scouring Twitter, looking out for news, and also through other games as well. There's a lot of most of the servers have the shilling section, which actually helps a lot to find some cool projects that you don't know about. But yeah, most of it's sort of just through people that you know. We're connected with a lot of the devs, which I think has been fun out of this whole guild thing, as we've got to sort of get close with all the developers, and then they sort of like lead you on to other developers, and it's all of like this big community, which is great. So it's yeah, and then we also get a lot of people reaching out to us, and then we sort of see if the game sounds legit. I know we can't really predict if something's going to be actually legit or if they're going to rug or but yeah, if you can sort of tell in the beginning if it's a little fishy or not. So yeah, we do get quite a few people reaching out to us, and then we'll put you in the ecosystem.
sorry to cut you off, but what are some key indicators of realizing like this game is actually legit, and it's gonna be there for the long run? And what are some key indicators for like something being a rug in the gaming world?
I would say actual evidence of some sort of gameplay is a big one, because I know a couple of the people that have drugged have usually just immediately rushed to launching the token, which I also think is a little bit of a flag. Sort of running straight to the token rather than focusing on most of the game aspects rather. So like if you can actually show gameplay, show like progress of working on a game, that sort of gives us a little bit more hope that it's not just going to be something you run away with. But yeah, because a lot of them, what always seems fishy is when they jump straight away to like, oh, token launch, but there's nothing else substantial behind the project. So you sort of get a little bit weird about it. But yeah, as long as you've got something to show, as long as you like at least have a decent roadmap of like progress that you're going to be making, then we usually consider it. But obviously, even if they do have gameplay, it's easy to sort of make a fake video. So you do, even though you sort of can feel certain of something, it's not always as certain as you'd like it to be. So you've just got to be careful.
That's a really good point. I think JP froze.
I do think he's frozen too.
Oh, did I?
You're frozen a good shot though. It's not like one of those embarrassing ones.
If I'm going to be froze, that's how I want to go.
I'm going to take you out of the screen and bring you back on. Maybe that'll help.
Okay.
So strange.
Seems
I can hear you great though.
Yeah.
Well, that, you know, if we have a pretty face and now I'm just a black screen. Oh, so much for that.
I still see you.
Yeah, we can still see you. We should put some deep fakes on him and like make his mouth for visual effects.
All right. I have more questions, so I'll keep going.
Cool. Let's go.
All right. I'll let you figure this out, JP. I hope you can. Oh, black screen.
I don't know. Go ahead. I'll figure it out.
All right. So we've lost JP for now, but he'll be back.
Okay.
So I kind of hate this question, but I feel like it's still important because there's other women out there, right? And then this is a place where it can be intimidating, people hearing about blockchain, it all being so new. That could be daunting on someone. It's like doesn't know where to get started. And even deeper, like getting into gaming. Gaming has always been a male-dominated sport or activity. So like one, like how does someone like yourself get into blockchain and then even get into gaming blockchain? I'm curious to hear about that sort of road because I'm sure like as a woman, it couldn't have been I don't know. I'm sure there are women everywhere just running up, being like, "Hey, come hang out,
gaming,
together."
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've always found it weird that there's the whole stigmatism about males being predominantly gamers and stuff. Like I've always found that weird because I've always come from like I want to play games and stuff. Like I'm sure there's lots of women out there who just like want to play games, and you should. Like it's fun. It's not just for men, I don't think. I mean, you could still be pretty and play games, right? But and I think that's sort of the benefits of being a woman in blockchain, because I feel like it's compared to the business world as it is today, I feel like it's a lot more equal with being a man versus being a woman, because it's so behind the scenes. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like you're not sort of like in the front, if you know what I mean. Like it's like you can be a blockchain developer, no one will really know who you are, because a lot of the times people don't like to dox themselves. That was also another thing I was going to say for being aware of rugs and stuff, is if the team is actually willing to dox themselves or not. And I know there are situations where you sort of can't for other business reasons. Say you worked at a different organization that you weren't allowed to work on anything else and you didn't really want to dox yourself for that. But that is also usually a flag if the team's sort of like, don't want to dox themselves, like, but yeah, I feel like also for women in the back end, it's also kind of cool, because then you don't have to show exactly who you are. And it's like you could be a man or a woman, no one really knows. And a lot of the time in Discord, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but most people have an NFT as their display picture.
Right.
And you have no idea if that's a girl or a boy. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like women should just jump in on it because it's not as, I would say, not as feisty as it is like in the real world, like with the fight for equality and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like I get called a bro and sir all
Yeah.
day. Like, and it's just totally normal. And I'm like, yeah, what's up, bro?
Yeah, like I don't mind that either. Like a lot of them are like, I have the same thing, like dude and bro. And then we were on a Twitter space the other night, because we do regular once a month Twitter spaces with the devs and like people who want to ask questions and stuff. And one of the games actually reached out to me and they were like, I'm so sorry for calling you dude this whole time. I had no idea you were a woman. I was like, it's fine, I don't care.
Yeah, that's
So it's like
awesome.
there's a lot of like you could be whoever you kind of want to be in the blockchain. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, pseudonymity, I think, like goes such a long way because it just really allows for maybe someone who was a little bit more introverted in the real world to
Yeah.
like be able to do what they do really well and still interact with an ecosystem of individuals who might also
Yeah.
be a little introverted, and then you have a safe
Yeah,
space
exactly.
in Discord to communicate. So I agree with that. I love
Yeah.
that. And we have JP back. Welcome
Yes, you're
back.
moving.
Hey, we're here. I'm alive. I'm animatronic.
Good.
Yeah, it is thrilling. Like you can really invent yourself, right? And I think like the blockchain ecosystem is an opportunity for people to reinvent themselves. It's such a new space that you can
Yeah.
really be who you want to be and stretch yourself out of your comfort zone and create this like new persona and be a new person, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I agree with that. Because like you said, it is such a new space. So there's still so much more to come. And I think if like you just want to get started now, there's like endless opportunities for you to get into. So I think it's great.
And when you have friends ask you about like blockchain or NFTs, what is the first resource you send them?
That's a great question. And I must be honest, I don't have many friends that ask me that question. But a lot of the time, I actually had my sisters ask me though when I was talking to them about it. We were talking about NFTs, but in gaming, they were like, "What is all this NFTs? I see Justin Bieber bought this thing for like millions of dollars," and I was like, "I've never really understood like NFTs as an NFT. I was also one of those in the beginning. I was like, oh, NFTs, like it's a fad, and then look at me now." But I sort of enjoy the fact that with blockchain gaming and play to earn games is that the NFT is used for so much more than just a piece of art. It's like it has utility. You can use it to play games. It's like there's so much more to it than just having, like I said, a piece of art. So it's like fun NFTs, and it's not all NFTs are just like boring and like it's not just a fad. Like there are people that use NFTs for real things and like utilities and staking and like there's so much more to it. So I think all the people that have doubts about, oh, what is an NFT, I think that's a good, I should figure out a good resource to send them. But I think there's a lot that there's out there to sort of get their mind off that idea about NFTs. What resource would you usually send over?
So I actually created a few resources last year, or probably around August, and it was like my own words as to like what an NFT is, and then I created a terminology sheet to break down just terms in blockchain. So I would usually send them there. But it has to depend on like what they're asking about, right? Because some people ask about DAOs, some people ask about NFTs, some people ask about crypto. A lot of the time, I'll schedule a call too. Like I'll just give my friends like an hour of my time and just go through everything. But I usually also start with why, like why, why are you trying to get into this space? Like, what's your goal? And the reason for that is because I find that a lot of people just kind of want to come in for quick gains.
Yeah.
And I think it was like one of the Bankless founders. He wrote something that really stood out to me. And it was like, crypto is not here to make you rich. It's here to make you free. And that in itself, I think, is something that people like just need to grasp onto when they're coming into what this blockchain ecosystem is. It's like it's true self-sovereignty. And when you realize like just like the implications of that as like a human on the planet, and what it could do, I think like your whole world does change once that like clicks. So I just want to make sure that clicks for people that I talk to. So one of the other paths I lead them to is Kernel. Kernel is this open source 8-module program created by Gitcoin. And there's a big emphasis on like teaching people sort of like what it means to be in the space, what it means to be sort of a part of this consensus network, like being aware of people who lie, being aware of like what value is, being aware of, and also being intentional and learning to ask better questions and things of that sort. So I quite like that path, and that's usually where I send them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that's also stemming when you were talking about the DAOs and all of that. I think that's what sort of led my overwhelmingness in the beginning, because there's so many things in blockchain to like understand, like the consensus and the DAOs and how all these things work. And I think now that I'm slowly getting to understand all of that, it's becoming more of a, sort of like opening up my eyes more to blockchain, and like I want to develop more in it and all of that. Like I think there's a lot of like real world purposes that can use blockchain, like banks and all of that, like especially Algorand with the low transaction fees and the low transaction speed and all of that. I think there's a big market for sort of websites and even like shops and stuff to use blockchain as their like form of like accept currency, at least like as a blockchain. So yeah, I think that's cool.
Were you thinking about gamification before blockchain in regards to like just being a gamer, or is this something that you're thinking about now as you're building your DAO or thinking about gaming development?
Well, I've always sort of been interested in games. I actually, when I was going through the stump of not being able to find a job, I sort of did some Twitch streaming while playing games and all of that. So I think gaming's always been a fun part of my life, I think. And also like with my husband as well, we're both gamers. So it's not the usual office you walk into. We've always got like all the like the gaming stuff and like the computers and like the little collectible dolls and like like the geeky stuff. But I think gaming's always been a part of me since I was little. So I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think it's cool that now we're sort of in the trying to grow the Algorand gaming space, because it's something that we're passionate about. So it's like, why not? Like get more people to come play games. And then it benefits the blockchain too, because the more people that utilize the coin and everything, the better the blockchain does. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rising tides raise all ships.
Yes.
That's good.
JP always with his wise words.
I always tell him that
too. I'm known for it now. All right.
That's so
start having to tweet out a quote a day.
You should. You'd be like it should be like wise man JP Miller instead of the real JP Miller.
All right, we'll see if that's available.
I love that, because it's so true. I tell him this. He has like the best like metaphors. It's like, dude, you must be like the most insightful dad. Like, can you imagine like JP, and instead of having him like be angry with you, it's like, let me just share a wealth of knowledge in like a metaphor. And it's just like so enlightening. And I'm like so serious, like even for me, like as a colleague, like I feel like I come to JP and sometimes they vent about things and he'll like be like, have some sort of like enlightening metaphor or quote. And I'm like, yeah, I get it now.
It's really my pleasure. Thanks. This is about Erin, not me.
It's about all of us.
So back to Erin. I'm curious, what NFTs do you hold?
So I just got my hands on a little knit. I think the algo knitters are awesome. You know, the little frogs that like have the crocheted sort of knitted.
Oh no,
yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah. Oh, they're so cute. And then mostly around sort of gaming. So I do have the ones that aren't gaming is the Flemish clones that just came out. I got a couple of those.
Nice.
Didn't get any good ones. Got like the close to the end of the pack, worst possible ones. We got like 7 between the 2 of us, and they're just terrible. But they look really cool. Like the ones that are on fire and the icy ones, they look really good. Did you guys get any good ones?
I've got some that I like.
So.
Yeah, I like them. Even like they don't have to be super rare to be fun.
Yeah, that's true. And you're not going to sell all of them anyway. You want to hold on to them. I was pretty stoked though, because the one that I got had a pink background. Even though it wasn't anything fancy, I was like, I like it. It's going on my profile picture. I'm now anonymous as pink little bunny rabbit.
There you go.
But yeah, I've got a lot of the Aga NFTs from their shuffles for playing the game. And then there's a silly game, not a silly game, but I'm big into houseplants. And there's this game called Algo Sprouts, which is also a Discord idle game, but you sort of grow seedlings and then the NFTs come back as like you get the little seeds, you get like the plants, and it comes back as a little daisy. So I've got a big garden in my NFT collection, which I'm super proud about. But yeah, what else do I got? I'm gonna have to look through my collection. But yeah, it's building up. It's building up. I'm still fairly new to the whole NFT thing, but I'm getting there. My husband's more into the whole NFT side, so he's got a bunch of the crazy geese.
Yeah, those are funny. I have yet to look into that, but
they're cool. Have you seen the thing where you can go and make the little Twitter background where you can link your wallet and then you can like put all your little geese in one image, and it like makes a little what are those background Twitter picture things called? You know, like the cover photos. Yeah, like a banner, and you can create this banner with all your little geese in it. I think it's so silly, but it's so cool.
That's so cute.
Yeah. But yeah, most of the NFTs I have are based around games. So yeah, I'm still branching out into all of that. Yeah. Cool. And what sort of ones are your little babies? Because you're the NFT mama.
So if I'm being honest, most of my NFTs are on Ethereum.
Okay.
So that's like, and it wasn't until Reach I actually branched out and started to explore other chains, other layers, and Algorand specifically. And then once I discovered Algorand and aped into the community through, I think my first NFT was it's either a Mingo or an Algo house.
Oh, cool. The Mingos are awesome.
I love the Mingos so much. I actually played, there's a song that someone in the community made. What's his name? I'll give him a shout out. It was Middle Doug. So he made a song for the Mingo community, and it's called Never Not Going Out, or Maybe Not Going Out, I think.
Maybe is what going out,
stands for.
Maybe not going out.
Yeah, what was it?
Maybe not going out, I think.
Yeah, maybe not going out. And I was like, yesterday I was like at my computer until like 8 p.m. And I was like, wow, I haven't like left this space all day. And I was like, you know what? It's time for my anthem.
There you go.
So I started playing the song, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so cool. It has like a fusion of like, you know, it's like modern, you know, because it talks about blockchain, but it sounds like 90s hip hop. And I absolutely love that. Like I go by Thug Life, like for a reason.
Oh, you got the shirt now. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Got it.
And the owls are great. Algo the owls are also really cool.
I don't have one of those yet, but I would like. Also, I'm working my way up to an Algoana. That's definitely a dream.
Oh, that's a huge one. Yeah, that's.
But I've got a mutant ape. I've got I used to have a World of Woman. I accidentally sold her. Got a ton of Robotos. Got some Flemmies. So yeah, those are just a few of my hundreds of NFTs.
Also back to Ethereum, I forgot that the first ever NFT that we got from that terrible experience of gas fees, it was a project called, it's still also trying to mint. I don't think they're sold out yet. It's called the Rocking Unicorns. And it's like these unicorns, but each of them have an instrument that plays a sound like in the background, and then when you collect all the unicorns you can put them all together, and it sort of like makes a band, and like they all play their little music things, and it's like, so they've each got their own unique sound, unique looks, unique instruments. And then you can also mint legends that are like Ozzy Osbourne, or you know, like the people from Kiss, and it's like all the, like you can mint those, but I don't know how many of the actual legends are out there. But that was my only ever Ethereum NFT that I've got. So I'm still holding on to that little unicorn. And then another great project that we've got, but it's on Algorand. It's the Smooth Brain Gorillas, which is it's I think just one person who's doing the artwork, doing the shuffles, doing everything. So I think he's a bit busy, but the NFTs look awesome. And then they have a utility where you can get a it's like a serum that you can take in, and you send it in with the NFT, and he upgrades it to like a mutant, and he like puts like the whole backstory from so like say it would be Rick and Morty, it would be like the Rick, but it would be like completely like dismembered and like a plumbus and like all like random Rick and Morty things, and like he really makes the mutant look cool. So I think that's a really great project, and I've actually got one mutant sent in now. It's for Spyro, so I'm excited to see what he comes up with. And they're all like gorillas, but like made into all these characters, which is quite cool. So that one's pretty cool. That's, I think, my only other non-gaming NFT, which I'm super stoked about.
Nice.
Yeah. And you, JP?
Yeah, I've got a few. So I've got I did a Doge Fight Club on ETH, and then see, we just bought some Flemmies. That was fun. We did that on one of our last episodes, and then I kind of got a few more. Been checking out Rand Gallery every few nights, nice. And then just see what I like. So I got some animal goals, kitties with the fangs. So I got a couple of those that I like.
Those aren't the blue ones, right? I'm thinking. No, I'm thinking of another. No. The little blue aliens. I'm thinking of a different one. They're all named so similar because they all try to keep algo in the name.
Right.
It's like, how many combinations of algo can you come up with?
Apparently quite a bit.
And we also have a very unique name for the guild, the Algo Gaming Guild. I mean, super unique. But I was going to say the Flemmy Shuffle was completely done on Reach as well, which is cool.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so that was, I think he was the first that I'm aware of that did the shuffle with Reach. So looking forward to many more. Yeah, that's really exciting.
He was, and I think it's the I don't know if this is true, but from what I've observed, I think he was the first one to also release his NFTs directly on the website versus selling them on the gallery.
Yeah, I think everything was purely done through the website. And then I think there were a lot of people in the chat saying like, oh, why not just use Rand Gallery? Why not just use, like one of the already built marketplaces? Because they did come into quite a few technical issues, like even just before they had someone hack into I think it was the front end or something.
No, it wasn't necessarily a hack. It's just the way Web3 works, right? And so Web3 works. If you launch a contract, it's on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And one does not need a front end to access the blockchain, right?
Yeah, because you can just go through the terminal.
You can go through a terminal. And so if you know what you're doing, you can find smart contracts through the terminal, and you can just use like a Algo Explorer to find smart contracts, and you can connect to them. So just, attach a deployer. You can attach to the contract if you know the address through a terminal. You don't need a front end. You just need to know what the methods are. And you can like easily look and see what those are, and then just interact with the contract through the terminal. And that's what happened. So I wouldn't consider attack at all, because like it was we could say maybe it's a dishonest participant because they didn't wait for the user interface, but I wouldn't consider it an exploit.
Yeah, it's more just figuring a way around of doing something rather than like attacking the whole system kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that's really interesting too, because like this is probably unrelated, but I'm just going to give my hot take. So I think it's really interesting because like we want to simplify things, right? We want to make blockchain accessible, and to make blockchain accessible, you need good UI, UX, and that's awesome when someone like is able to just click around and not have to think about using blockchain. But then you have participants who are a little bit more knowledgeable and have the ability to kind of like figure out how the technology actually works and then go above and beyond to get ahead of everyone else. So to me, it sounds like I'm like, hell yeah, that's so awesome. You're smart enough to figure it out. Like, you deserve it. But at the same time, like, it's like, oh, what about the 99% of people who couldn't figure it out and just didn't have the resources to teach themselves or whatever? and haven't been able to get ahead of themselves to get to that point. So this isn't like a question or anything. I guess it's just like a vent.
And it's sort of like takes away that experience for that 99% of the other people who are like in it for like the shuffle excitement, and then there's just that one other person who's smarter than everyone, like getting all the good ones, and like yeah. So it
Don't
is,
necessarily need to be smarter than everyone else. You just need to be more persistent, right? It really comes down to grit. I mean, there's a certain level of intelligence that needs to be crossed. Like there's a threshold, but after that, like someone could grok something easier, perhaps, and maybe they're like levels, like maybe like nuclear physics might be out of my reach, like the fine intricacies, right? Like maybe you don't want me designing the plans and like creating the things that the high paid people do to create. I don't even know, but given enough time, like probably understand, I don't know, 80% of it.
yeah, that's true. You just got to be consistent with your learning, and you can figure some of it out at least.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think like these things are within reach, and I say that it's if you're going to have the mentality of a Stefania to say good on you, then take that one step further and adopt the mentality, it could be me, right? And so I could learn this, and what do I need to do to learn this and to achieve that kind of a level if that's what I want.
Yeah. But getting back to the whole Flemmy shuffle and everything, I think it's a lot of the people were saying, why not just use Rand Gallery? Why not just use this? It will be easier. It's already done for you. But I think it's really cool that they actually did their whole system, their own website, their everything, because it's sort of encouraging other people to sort of make their own systems and sort of veer away from like the huge NFT marketplaces and stuff. So I thought it was a great initiative. And I was like the one in the crowd who was like, I'm not like, I have nothing against what they're doing. I appreciate the fact that they're taking longer than usual. Because like as a developer, I think a lot of the people also don't come from developer backgrounds, and they're like, where's the shuffle? Like, when is this happening? Like, why is it not working?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, they're probably sitting there trying to figure out why it's taking long. I'm going to give them the time because I appreciate the fact that they're working on something that hasn't really been done other than Rand Gallery and all that other stuff. So I enjoyed the whole experience of the Flemmy shuffle and all of that. So it's cool that they've branched out to do their own thing.
Yeah, people who are saying that, I'd be like, well, do you even understand blockchain? Do you even understand like the idea of Web3? Because essentially what they're saying is, why don't you just use the centralized service?
Right? Yes, I was just thinking that.
Like, why are we in blockchain? Why are we doing this?
I mean, why not take decentralization and make it centralized?
That'd be great. Let's do that. Then we just call it Web2 with extra steps and fees.
Yeah, because people don't realize, but these platforms have fees that are like eating into the creators' pockets, right? Yeah. So it's like you can use these other third-party sites, but it's actually the Flemish Giants team who worked on this. So why give away a profit if you don't have to?
Well, at least the person who was smart enough to figure out how to get into the shuffle from the back, or like from like the smart way, at least he still paid the full min price and didn't steal them. Yeah,
that's true. I don't have any more questions. JP, do you want to close it off with something exciting?
Well, I think we want Erin to plug the AGG, right? Like, where can we find more information about the Algo Game Guild, and how can people get in touch?
Cool. So we have, if you want to go onto our Twitter, we've got our Discord link and everything there. So it's at Algo Gaming Guild. Just that. It's not Algo Rand Gaming Guild. It's just Algo Gaming Guild. And then from there, you can get the link to the Discord. And then you can join our server. There's not too much happening in the Discord. I'm not sure if that's a normal thing, but it's like we've got a lot of people in there, just like not much happens. So we are going to work on sort of more community engagement and all of that. But our Twitter's pretty cool. Our Twitter's pretty active. We do host the yes, that's the one.
There it is.
That's the one. Yeah, so we do host Twitter Spaces once a month for developers in the community to sort of come together. So look out for that, and we hope to see you there. It'll be cool to interact with all of you.
Awesome.
But yeah, so there's still exciting things to come, but it's still all in development. So be on the lookout.
All right. Well, we'll have to have you on again in the future when things are ready and you can talk about
maybe just before the convention as well. We can do like something. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
Love
great.
that.
Yeah, it'd be great. Well, thanks so much for being with us today.
Cool, thank you. And I love being here. And if you have a motivational quote to end the session.
Okay, if you're really gonna push me, let's see. Where's my book at? I stole this book from my dad when I was a teenager.
They come from a book? No, I'm disappointed.
Not all. Not all. The Great Thoughts. I stole this book from my dad. You're asking me for a great quote, and I don't know. My mind goes to the man in the arena. I don't have it fully memorized, but be the man in the arena if you want
Okay.
just something off the top of my head, or the woman in the arena, and that's the
Yes,
person that's in the fight. They're learning. We don't discriminate. This is Web3.
I'm an
Be there,
NFT.
do the thing. Yeah, it's the people in the stands that are criticizing, and it's easy to criticize from the stands. You're the one breaking the sweat and doing the hard work. You're in the arena. You're on the journey. You're fighting the fight. Just keep at it.
I love that.
I love it.
Well, thanks for all you're doing in the community, Erin, and for
Thanks,
the
and you
ecosystem.
too. And I look forward to more reach coming up.
Awesome.
Thanks
We'll
for
hope
being
to
a
see you in
part
the
of
next
it.
weekend.
Cool, thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Erin, for joining us. That was incredible. JP, I had a great time. We should bring in more guests.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's
Like-
find us. Who wants to be on? Talk to us. Talk to us on the Twitter.
Yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure to have you. Per usual, as you know, we are crypto curious. We'll be here every week, and we would love to hear more about what you want to listen to, what you want to learn about. So leave those ideas in the comments, like, subscribe, let us know if you have feedback. We want to hear it. We want to be your friend, and you know how to reach us. NFTMami for me on Twitter, and the real JP Miller on Twitter.
You got it.
Any last words?
All right, crypto never sleeps.